ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। Just give me a few minutes because there's an issue with my computer. I'll get it started soon. Gurudev. So we read here up until here yesterday. We're doing the 48th verse. So there was this story about doing. Just go to the verse, read it once. We're talking about the second definition for karma yoga, which is discretion in action. So we saw the different kinds of karma that are there, which are kamya, nitya, naimitika, and prayaschitta karma. Just 1 second. We'll just go through these paras one more time before we go on to. So, what is Kaushala? Then, what does the word Kaushala mean in this definition? To understand this, let us go back to the first definition, Samatvam Yoga Uchyate, where yoga is defined as sameness. Suppose a man says to the Swami, I have my likes and dislikes. For instance, I like my neighbor's money. He has a lot of it and has converted it into gold, which he keeps in his safe. I definitely have a raga for his money, and I also have a dvesha for this man. I hate him because he's so blatant about his riches. He thinks he's such a big shot, and he's always showing off. Therefore, I hate him and I love his money. I want to fulfill my raga dvesha. Also, I happened to listen to your talk yesterday. Until then, I had never I had never yeah, therefore until then I had never heard of karma yoga. Now I want to ask you, will I continue to be a karma yogi if I carry on with my plan? I have been working on a tunnel between my house and the room in which my neighbor's safe is located. I know how to open the safe. I know how the whole thing has to be done. I have only 1 hour's work left, and then I will be there in the room. I was going to do it last night, but having listened to your talk, what I was doing started to bother me. I really want to be a karma yogi. It looks to me as though I can continue with my plan and still be a karma yogi because you say I have a right, a choice over my action. I have already sent my wife and children away and I will not give you their address. I am telling you only this much, hoping that you will not tell anyone. I intend to join them tomorrow. Tonight I am off. My house is already empty, and since I have been renting it, I have nothing more to claim from it. Therefore, everything is set, and I am going to work. Of course, I am taking a risk. You say that Ishvara is the karma phaladata, the giver of the fruits of action. So, I am going to work 1 more hour tonight so that I can clear out the safe. Of course, I do not know what is going to happen. There may be nothing in it at all. My neighbor may have already cleared it out and put the gold elsewhere. Or the gold may be there, but I may get caught. I may be shot or beaten up. I may be handed over to the police and have to be in jail for a number of years. Anything is possible, or I may get away with it also. My hope, of course, is that if I will get away with it, my hope, of course, is that I will get away with it. Therefore, whatever comes, I'm going to take it as prasada. If I get all the gold, fine, it is prasada. And if I'm beaten up, I will take every stroke as prasada. Will that be okay? Do you think I'm a karma yogi? Do you think that when the Lord says in the Gita that a karma yogi is very, very beloved to him, he's referring to me? That is what I want to be. I want to be beloved to the Lord. If I take everything as prasada, will I be beloved? It is for this person's sake that we have the definition Yoga Karmasu Kaushalam. Kaushala is discretion in one's karma, in one's choice. It is not an untethered choice without norms. It is choice with discretion, meaning that one's choice should be in keeping with certain norms. This then is another very important aspect of Karma Yoga. The first definition is with reference to the results of action, Karma Phale Samaha Bhutva, which defines Karma Yoga as an attitude of samatva, whereas this definition is with reference to the action itself, Yoga Karmasu Kaushalam. Kaushala is your capacity to interpret correctly. This capacity to interpret with reference to norms for human interaction is the discretion, the expertise. The norm for human interaction is called dharma, and the opposite is called adharma. Dharma and adharma form the standard norms. They are not absolutes in that they have to be interpreted according to the given situation. The person who can interpret them properly is called kushala. Dharma and adharma are not to be interpreted according to convenience, but must be in line with what is proper. Proper interpretation of dharma is what is meant by kaushala. Kaushala is yoga because, again, you are not in the hands of your raga dveshas when you exercise discretion in your choice of action. So, one definition of karma yoga is samatva with reference to the results of our actions, and the second is kaushala with respect to the choice, the discretion in our action. So, both ways, you're not letting raga dveshas affect your decisions. So, kushala is when you follow the norms, interpret them correctly, and then apply them. Dharma and adharma are universal. The man in the story has raga dveshas. His raga is for money, and dvesha is for his neighbor to whom the money belongs. He wants to go by his raga dveshas, and they are totally against dharma and adharma. What should not be done, he is doing. Therefore, he is going against dharma, which means he is doing adharma. But could it not be said that this is all a man made order? No. Suppose in a particular country there is no law against stealing. Does that mean that if someone takes away what belongs to another, it would not be called stealing? No, it would still be called stealing. This is not the same as the man made convention that traffic shall proceed on the right. We naturally all proceed on the right because to do otherwise is a definite risk to life and limb, and it is also illegal. Even if you say you are ready to take the risk, the police will not let you because you are not the only one involved. Other people will be in danger. Convention then we can describe as man made. But if the law but is the law against stealing man made? No, because the law that stealing is not right is not man made. It is universal. If no one had anything that was his or her own, there would be no stealing. Even though there would be people, there would be nothing to steal, and therefore no one can steal from the other. However, everyone has something of his or her own, and therefore there is going to be stealing. Even a Swami has a begging bowl and a mala. These are the two important symbols, linga, of a sadhu, and he is supposed to carry them. There are thieves for this also, especially now that they have become rare and therefore costly. Thus, even sadhus can lose their few possessions because as long as anyone has something that is his or her own, there is such a thing called stealing. This is universal. Like adharma, dharma also is universal and is not man made. Dharma is something that is commonly sensed by a human being and is meant for human interaction. I live and let live. I want to be left alone in the sense that I do not want the few possessions I have to be stolen. And at the same time, I let others live in the same way. There is a particular order that is sensed commonly, and this order, called dharma, is the very basis upon which we are supposed to interact with our fellow beings. The scriptures confirm this and also say that if you go against the order, your action produces what is called papa for you. The scriptures do not tell us what is right and wrong, dharma and adharma. Thou shalt do this, thou shalt not do that, etc. They merely confirm what we already know. We do not need anyone to tell us these things. Indeed, our knowledge is such that we tell everyone else. Scriptures the world over merely confirm the existence of a common sense dharma. It is not that they came into the world at certain periods of time and finding there was no dharma, established one. People knew what was right and wrong before the scriptures came along. Choice in action implies norms. This common sense dharma is there for a human being because he or she has a choice in action. This choice implies a set of norms which must be known. If these norms, the dharma, were not there, the creation would be defective. I could not have been given a choice without having also been given the norms that go with choice. This would be something like giving a Ferrari to someone who is drunk and does not know how to drive, or giving it to someone when it has no brakes. Having been given a choice, the norms should be common to all without any education being necessary. This is a very important aspect of Dharma. To be given a choice, but no knowledge of the norms would be a defect in the creation. If I did have if I did have to be educated about these norms, then no one would have the same opportunity to receive this education. Then certain people would be stealing or getting hurt because they never knew they should not steal or get hurt. They were never taught. Therefore, without any education at all, I know that I should not steal or get hurt. I also know that others do not want to be stolen from or be hurt. This then is the common norm. What is equally common to you and me is the norm on the basis of which we can choose our actions. What I do not want from others, I find others also do not want from me. Therefore, we have a common norm, dharma, and the person who is able to interpret his or her to be actions in terms of the dharma has kaushala. I repeat this paragraph. So, what is equally common to you and me is the norm on the basis of which we can choose our actions. What I do not want from others, I find others also do not want from me. Therefore, we have a common norm, dharma, and the person who is able to interpret his or her to be done actions in terms of the dharma has kaushala. Let us now complete the story of the man who wants to continue his plans to steal his neighbor's money and take the result as prasada. He will only be fulfilling one part of the karma yoga definition. The other part will remain unfulfilled because there is no kaushala. He is not even interpreting. He is going against the very dharma. If someone wanted to rob him, how would he take it? He would not allow it, which means that he should not rob anyone else because it is a wrong action. If everyone was simply to say, so what, to all the norms, all we would have would be confusion. Even today, the society is not so confused that we are prevented from conducting our lives. People more or less do follow these norms. If everyone were to do exactly what they wanted, they would be hitting others, robbing them, and so on, all of which would be going against dharma. There would be no order, only confusion, and no one could live his or her life. There is order in the world even today. That is why we are able to live peacefully. Some of us do not even have gates or fences because there is dharma. Since there are boundaries that people seem to follow, we cannot say there is no dharma. Of course, there is adharma too because choice is there and people are sometimes going to abuse their power of choice. The man who wants to rob his neighbor has to be told, along with Arjuna, that he must conform to dharma, even though his likes and dislikes prompt him to do otherwise. What happens to ragadveshas then? They are curtailed at the level of action. They must be aligned with dharma and adharma. If there are lingering likes and dislikes which are not in conformity with dharma and adharma, there is no one in my heart to claim them. I do not follow them. I do not join them. They rise and they die a natural death. There is no one to claim them because I have no connection with them. They simply rise as fancies and die as fancies. I go only by what is right and wrong. So, your likes and dislikes are curtailed not just at the level of the results of action, when you take things as prasada, even before you act at the level of action, because you're using your the discretion in action and not going by your likes and dislikes. So your likes and dislikes must be aligned with dharma and adharma. If there are if there is no one to claim them, then you do not follow them. I do not join them. They rise and they die a natural death. Summary of the definition of Karma Yoga. To summarize, then, we have a two-part definition for Karma Yoga. Samatvam Yoga Uchyate and Yoga Karmasu Kaushalam. With reference to the results of your actions, there is a sameness, samatva, in your response. Gaining this attitude of samatva depends upon the recognition of Ishvara as the karma phala data, the giver of the fruits of all actions. Whatever result you gain, the laws do not cheat you in any way. Therefore, as a karma yogi, you have the same attitude towards both the desirable and undesirable results of your actions. Karma phale samatva buddhihi. Then, with reference to action itself, because there is choice involved, as a karma yogi, you exercise your choice based on certain norms. These norms are indicated by the rules of dharma and adharma. They are universal, common to all, samanya dharma. Even universal laws require interpretation. Although common to all, samanya dharma must be interpreted to accommodate given situations so that it is appropriate to the situation. This interpreted dharma is referred to as Vishesha Dharma. Ordinary laws also have similar provisions. That you should keep to the right in traffic is a law that is universal in America. But suppose a huge truck is coming towards me in the same lane. By keeping to the left, the driver of the truck is doing the wrong thing and I am doing the right thing. But I am driving a very small, lightweight car. By keeping to the right, I am right. But if I refuse to interpret the law and do not budge an inch, because I am right and he is wrong, I will certainly suffer the consequences. Suppose, however, I swerve to the left, making sure that I am not going to hit anyone in the process, and then return again to the right. When I have avoided the truck, then I have saved the situation. If a police officer sees me going to the left, he or she will not give me a citation, but will go after the truck driver instead. I interpreted the law correctly, and the officer will probably congratulate me for escaping serious injury or death. Every law has an exception. No one has ever made a law, including Bhagavan, without there being an exception. For example, Newton's laws of gravitation applies only in certain areas. If you are in a spaceship, peanuts cannot be eaten in the same way as they are eaten here. Instead of going into your mouth when you toss them up, they will go to the right or to the left. Even though Newton's law is really Bhagavan's law, still it does not operate in the same way in all places, at all times. Thus, there are no absolute laws. That there are no absolute laws, however, does not mean that there is no universality. Dharma is universal because I feel the same way as others feel. However, even what is universal has to be interpreted according to the situation. Although you expect people to speak the truth to you and people expect the same from you, sometimes you may have to tell a lie in order to save someone's life. This is Vishesha Dharma or interpreted Dharma. Vishesha Dharma is when someone other than yourself is the beneficiary of the lie. Thus, the differences between dharma and adharma with references to speaking truth depends on whether or not you are the beneficiary of the lie. So, like the Ashwatthama Hatha Kunjara. So, the beneficiary of the lie was someone else. It is not the person who is saying the lie. Other examples of Vishesha Dharma are those dharmas imposed by the scriptures, which are only valid insofar as a given place, time, or culture is concerned. For example, a Brahmana, Kshatriya, and a Shudra have certain duties to perform within the framework of the Vedic culture only. Therefore, these duties are Vishesha Dharma. Karma Yoga implies an understanding of the Lord. Samanya Dharma and Vishesha Dharma should always be the governing factors when exercising your choice with reference to a given action. You cannot go by your likes and dislikes. You cannot go by your raga dveshas alone. When you do go by dharma and not by your raga dveshas, you are living an ethical life. Such a life, however, may not be yoga. Yoga comes into the picture only when Ishvara is taken into account. The Gita does not discuss Ishvara immediately. It only does so in the third chapter. Another verse in the 18th chapter explains the role of Ishvara in Karma Yoga. Yatah pravrittirbhutanam ena sarvamidam tatam swakarmana tamabhyarcha siddhim vindati manavaha. The one from whom all beings have come into being, by whom all this is pervaded, worshipping him by performing one's duties, a person attains spiritual success. The Lord is not only the creator but also the creation. Therefore, the creation is non separate from Ishvara, and Ishvara is both the efficient and the material cause of the creation. No product, karya, is separate from the material of which it is made. The status of being both the efficient and the material cause is therefore what is meant by Ishvara, and that is the reason why the creation is non separate from the creator. The creator, on the other hand, is independent of the creation in the sense that even without the creation, the creator remains. At the time of dissolution, for example, the entire creation goes back to Ishvara, who alone remains. The creation is like the dream world you create, without which you remain as you are. While the dream world is not independent of you, you can be without it, as you are in deep sleep. Similarly, the creation is non separate from the Creator, the Lord. Anything in the world that is naturally created can be looked at as Ishvara's creation, Ishvara Srishti, just as anything you make may be said to be your creation, Jiva Srishti, because your free will is involved. There is, however, only some truth in your being the creator of anything. When you say that the house you built is your own creation, you find upon analysis that the statement is not totally true. Because your will and effort are involved, there is some truth in it. But the earth that the house is standing on is not created by you, nor are the laws which allow the house to stand. The materials that are necessary to build and maintain the house are also not created by you. In this way, you come to see that your creation depends on many aspects which are not created by you. Therefore, nothing is really created by you, although, for the time being, we can assume that there is such a thing as Jiva Srishti. The laws of the creation are not separate from the Creator. Your physical body is not created by you. The powers that are necessary to create are not created by you. These are the Lord's creation, Ishvara Srishti alone. Ishvara Srishti includes the laws of Dharma also. These laws are not created by me. These laws are not created by us. They are only sensed by us. Gravitation is sensed by people and by monkeys as well. Birds seem to sense it also. They know that when they want to fly, they must flap their wings in order to take off into the air. Every creature seems to know at least some of these laws, since they seem to know what they have to do. The laws that are instinctively known by animals are known to us by our common sense. The laws of Dharma are also known to us in the same way. Without any education whatsoever, without being taught, we know what is right and wrong. Although this knowledge is generally called conscience, it is actually our simple common sense knowledge of dharma and adharma, what is right and wrong. It is basic knowledge that everyone has about a fact that is already there in the creation. Just as other laws exist as part of the creation, the law of dharma also exists as a part of the creation. If the Lord is the creator and the creation is non separate from the creator, then the law of dharma, being a part of the creation, is also non separate from Ishvara. Therefore, dharma becomes Ishvara. The law of karma also becomes Ishvara in the same way. This is why we can worship the Lord as dharma, and we have even given him two hands and two legs in the form of Rama. When we say Rama was an avatara, we do not need any history at all. Whether Rama existed or not is irrelevant because he is looked upon only as the Lord. He is Dharma personified. History is necessary only for those who have problems with reference to what is historical. Their concept of the Lord being what it is, such people require history, but we do not require it. A name and form are given only for the sake of worship and meditation, and that is how Rama, Krishna, and others are presented. Lord Krishna is joy itself. He is nothing but joy, in fact, which happened to have developed two hands, two legs, a head, and so on, called Krishna, and then, taking a flute in hand, walked about. Therefore, whether Krishna existed or not does not mean anything. Krishna is a particular name and form given to Parameshwara, whose nature is joy, Ananda, Ananda Swarupa. Similarly, Rama portrays the Lord as Dharma. Thus, we look at the Lord from various aspects in the creation and represent these aspects with many different gods called Devatas. What happens when I look upon Dharma as Ishvara? If I merely conform to Dharma, I am an ethical person. But if I look upon Dharma as the Lord, I worship that Lord by doing what is to be done by me at a given time and place. Dharma is something already established, and I come to sense it. Therefore, what is to be done by me, I do. Krishna says that by doing the karma that is to be done by us, we are worshipping Him. How can that be? This is also something we must know. I'll just read this last paragraph again. What happens when I look upon Dharma as Ishvara? If I merely conform to Dharma, I'm an ethical person. It is like
Can
saying,
you, sorry, can you go one more paragraph up, please?
okay, so you want me to read from laws of creation are not separate from the creator? This
If
is the whole,
possible. Yeah,
yeah.
if possible.
Your physical body is not created by you. So the understanding here is that the laws of creation are not separate from the creator. So they are the creator, the laws. Your physical body is not created by you. The powers that are necessary to create are not created by you. These are the Lord's creation, Ishvara Srishti alone. Ishvara Srishti includes the laws of Dharma also. These laws are not created by us, they are only sensed by us. Gravitation is sensed by people and by monkeys also. Birds seem to sense it as well. They know that when they want to fly, they must flap their wings in order to take off into the air. Every creature seems to know at least some of these laws since they seem to know what they have to do. The laws that are instinctively known by animals are known to us by our common sense. The laws of Dharma are also known to us in the same way. Without any education whatsoever, without being taught, we know what is right and wrong. Although this knowledge is generally called conscience, it is actually our simple common sense knowledge of dharma and adharma, what is right and wrong. It is basic knowledge that everyone has about a fact that is already there in the creation. Just as other laws exist as a part of the creation, the law of dharma also exists as a part of the creation. If the Lord is the creator and the creation is non separate from the creator, then the law of dharma, being a part of the creation, is also non separate from Ishvara. Therefore, dharma becomes Ishvara. The law of karma also becomes Ishvara in the same way. This is why we can worship the Lord as Dharma, and we have even given him two hands and two legs in the form of Rama. When we say Rama, just give me a second. When we say Rama was an avatara, we do not need any history at all. Whether Rama existed or not is irrelevant because he is looked upon only as the Lord. He is Dharma personified. History is necessary only for those who have problems with reference to what is historical. Their concept of the Lord being what it is, such people require history, but we do not require it. A name and form are given only for the sake of worship and meditation, and that is how Rama, Krishna, and others are presented. Lord Krishna is joy itself. He has nothing but joy, in fact, which happen to have developed two hands, two legs, a head, and so on, called Krishna, and then taking a flute in hand, walked about. Therefore, whether Krishna existed or not does not mean anything. Krishna is a particular name and form given to Parameshwara, whose nature is joy, Ananda Swarupa. Similarly, Rama portrays the Lord as Dharma. Thus, we look at the Lord from various aspects in the creation and represent these aspects with many different gods called avatars. Called devatas. So, thus we look at the Lord from various aspects in the creation and represent these aspects with many different gods called devatas. Like, for example, Ganesha is the remover of obstacles. So, there are different aspects of creation, and each one is represented by one devata. How beautiful the whole thing is explained. What happens when I look upon Dharma as Ishvara? If I merely conform to Dharma, I am an ethical person. But if I look upon Dharma as the Lord, I worship that Lord by doing what is to be done by me at a given time and place. I repeat this again. So, what happens when I look upon Dharma as Ishvara? If I merely conform to Dharma, I'm an ethical person. But if I look upon Dharma as the Lord, I worship that Lord by doing what is to be done by me at a given time and place. That's Swakarmana Tamabhyacha, right? Dharma is something already established, and I come to sense it. Therefore, what is to be done by me, I do. Krishna says that by doing the karma that is to be done by us, we are worshipping Him. How can that be? This is also something we must know. Do you want to do Manana on this? So, very beautiful aspect So, Karma Yoga is not just about samatva, also Kaushala. Kaushala is not skill in action. That's a wrong interpretation. Refer the story of the person wanting to covet his neighbor's money. He had all the skill. So the it is often called skill in action, but it is not skill in action. It is discretion in action. Just like how not to expect results is not the correct interpretation of samatva, because without expecting results you cannot do anything. You of course expect some result. The samatva is about taking whatever comes with samatva as prasada. Similarly, kaushala is doing things, worshipping the Lord, recognizing Ishvara as the law of dharma, law of karma, and worshipping Him with our actions, the to do actions. It's not like you're just doing things according to dharma and being an ethical person, but you're bringing in that religious aspect. You're doing it as a bhakta, you're doing it as a yajna. So that completes karma yoga. Very beautiful. Anyone wants to share? So, the moment you bring in that attitude of worship, what is happening to your likes and dislikes? Just like how when we take the result as prasada, you are not going by your likes and dislikes. It is the attitude that makes it samatva. And this dharma is samanya dharma. And at times, yes, vishesha dharma as well. It needs to be interpreted according to time and place. It is not absolute, because every law has an exception. Everything in the creation has its own dharma. With reference to this cycle of creation, the Lord is the creator. The world is born of Him and sustained by Him. It is not that He created the world and then went to sleep. The creation is on. Every moment, new cells are born, new things are born. You yourself are born, and new children are born. A continual process of creation, srishti, existence or sustenance, sthiti, and dissolution, samhara, is going on. This second, a recognized unit of time, is born, and as it is born, it is, and it is also gone. This born is gone is a continuous process. The various living beings on this planet, trees, insects, animals, and human beings, all do exactly what is expected of them. In this way, everything goes well. A tree that has to change its colors before winter comes does so, and it keeps doing so because it is a sugar maple tree, and that is what a sugar maple tree has to do. Being programmed The tree does exactly what it has to do. If it has to make chlorophyll, it makes chlorophyll. If it has to take in carbon dioxide and give out oxygen, it does exactly what it has to do. This is why a sugar cane continues to be sweet and a lime continues to be sour. All vegetation grows upon the same earth and may even belong to the same species. Still, one may be sour and the other sweet. If, for example, a particular orange happens to be a lemon, an orange is an orange and a lemon is a lemon. If one orange turns out to be a lemon, there is a reason for it. It is because a certain programming is there. It is not that an orange tree decided to have some fun, wanting to see the face of the person who bites into a certain orange and discovers it to be a lemon. The tree does not make any such decision to produce a sour orange. Being programmed as it behaves and contributes to the creation exactly it must because the creation is on. Ishvara himself is in the form of the very world, the very creation. Therefore, every blade of grass is what it is, and it is Ishvara. Everything in the vegetable kingdom is Ishvara's creation, and having a particular form does exactly what is expected of it because members of the botanical world do not have free wills. The world of animals is the same. A snail is always a snail, an oyster is an oyster, a jackal is a jackal, a lion is a lion, a cow is a cow, and a turkey is a turkey. All of them are exactly the same. They do not call themselves snails, lions, and turkeys. A cock will fight like a cock. That is why it's a cock. Similarly, monkeys behave like monkeys, exactly as they should, programmed as they are. They all seem to be fine and are intelligent enough. Even turkeys know how to survive when left to their own devices. The fact that they cannot survive the month of November is only due to the way people choose to celebrate Thanksgiving. Only human beings are not programmed. It is only when you come to human beings,
Yeah,
even a small child.
excuse me. Excuse me, Bhavna. The
Yeah,
last sentence, because what is that? Turkey or what is it?
they cannot
Thanksgiving, something.
survive the month of November is
Hmm.
only due to the way people choose to celebrate Thanksgiving.
Even turkeys know how to survive.
Yeah, because every animal will escape death. No, they want to live. That is why in the animal kingdom, the when the deer senses danger, it starts running for its life.
Running, yes, that's the rest.
So turkey also knows how to survive, but it cannot survive the month of November because people you know
Hmm.
eat turkey.
Yeah,
Hmm.
they in US, they I don't know whatever reason they chose the turkey as a Thanksgiving dinner. So that's why they say it doesn't escape the Thanksgiving day in November. Usually it comes on last Thursday of the November.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Only human beings are not programmed. This is what we need to read from tomorrow. But yeah, but in order to go through the flow of thought, I don't know how long this is. Yeah, I think I will just read this if you allow me to. I will just read these three, four paras. It is only when you come to human beings, even a small child, that you find a difference. When you call a puppy, it wags its tail and comes every time because it connects your calling it by name with a cookie or some other treat in your hand. But if you call your young child by the same name, whether you hold out a cookie or not, he or she may or may not come. Why? Because the child is much more than a pup. He or she is a complete person with a will of his or her own, asserted, asserted from childhood onwards. This is always a problem for parents, especially when they want the child to perform for guests, for instance. If the child is at all concerned about what others will think, there is no way he or she will perform. Even as adults, most of our worries are based on what others will think, a problem not shared with other living beings. When a cow wants to make a noise, it does so without bothering about what anyone will think. If a dog wants to bark, a donkey wants to bray, or a lion wants to roar, they too do not concern themselves with what others will think. Wherever there is water, all the frogs in the vicinity will gather every evening and put on a concert. The racket they create is so dreadful that you cannot sleep. But the frogs are not at all concerned with what you or anyone else thinks of their music. Only human beings have this problem because they have free will and a self image, half of which depends on what others think. Therefore, they are entirely different and are not going to do exactly what is to be done unless they decide to do so. In the process of growth, a person picks up hundreds of raga dveshas, likes and dislikes. Such fancies are always there, and we find that convenience is usually the order that we follow. This is why we often do not bother about no trespassing signs and cut across a rectangle diagonally, thereby creating a path, even though it is someone else's private property. And once there is a path, a right to it also seems to be established. This is what is meant by the term grandfather rights. We also see evidence that convenience is one's nature wherever there is a sign saying post no bills. There will even be a bill stuck right on top of the very sign, perhaps so that the problem will disappear. Thus, convenience is often the governing factor. We want what is convenient, what is pleasant. Easy gratification is exactly what human beings go for. If some work, pain, or effort is involved, we want to avoid it. The human disposition is like that, going after easy, quick gratification, wanting only what pays off immediately. This is our nature. We have therefore created in ourselves a number of raga dveshas which prompt us to perform various actions that are not often in keeping with dharma and adharma. To go against dharma, the Lord, is to go against the order that is the Lord. And this is adharma. Yeah, I think we will stop here. We'll do this tomorrow. So very, for me, it's a big opening in the sense I was always thinking that karma yoga is only about taking the result as prasada, doing what is to be done and taking things as prasada. But here, kaushala is what is to be done. Also, you need kushala, that discretion. It has to be in accordance with dharma and adharma. Yeah. Anyone wants to share anything before we close? So being a karma yogi is actually pretty challenging. It is not easy to be a karma yogi. Because you have to curtail the raga dveshas on both sides. Before you start an action, when you exercise your choice in action, to do, not to do, or do otherwise. And also at the result, both ends. You have to be use it, do everything as worship. Yeah. So we'll stop here. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Jai Gurudev.
Meditation is accepting this moment, living every moment totally with depth. Let us keep our spine erect and body relaxed and eyes closed. Relax your shoulders. Keep a big smile on your face. You're sitting like the statue of Buddha, very serene and with a serene smile on your face. Relax your body. Let's take a deep breath in and breathe out. Become aware of your chest region, throat and chest region. If you notice some tension in the body, just let it be. Except those parts of the body where you feel a tension, the other parts are in comfort. Other parts are at peace. Become aware of that also. There are many good things about you and inside of you. Acknowledge them. They will never leave you. And the negative aspect you may see in you is never going to stay with you forever. They are all guests for some time. Let them be. Sit with the total acceptance of yourself the way you are at this very moment. Total acceptance of what is now here will lead us to deeper meditation. Let go of all the effort. Shanti. Let go of all your effort and be in this emptiness. And slowly and gradually become aware of body and surroundings. And you may gently open your eyes.